I hope I got the proper pronunciation of your name. Pardon me if I didn't, but I know I got the Ogun right. And Miyani Bukai, round of applause for him as he makes his way too. There's supposed to be a fifth person. I don't know if she's here. Nova's, yes. A round of applause for Nova as she makes her way too. A bit of ground rules. We're going to keep it for 10 minutes. I know we're trying to keep it short, so the panel is going to run for 10 minutes. So I hand over to you, Irene.
All right, thank you. While we await our last... Hello? Can you hear me? Okay, so I'll just use the power of my voice while we await... Thank you so much, everyone. And before we begin, I would like to recognize the presence of our Vice President, Professor Yemi Oshibajo, and everyone present here. And while this is a very pertinent conversation, the theme for this book launch, Conversations on Nigeria's Unity in Diversity. Each panelist, please, indulge your I would like to employ that you keep your responses as short as possible. And I'll start with you, Mr. Tolu. Taking into consideration the theme, Conversations on Nigeria's Unity in Diversity, how can we become more intentional, with an emphasis on the word intentional, about turning our diversity into our strength? Nigeria, for one, has over 250 ethnic groups and over 500 languages.
Every nation has national narratives that get passed around. What are the narratives that we focus on? So I'm thinking of Imam Abdullahi, who saved 262 Christians in June of 2018. You know, in some other places there will be Netflix specials and all of that about that kind of man. I'm thinking about NYSC, and I mean, the timing is just, you know, it's perfect because this is 50 years of NYSC. I found out, for example, that the Plateau State governor-elect, who is from Plateau State, obviously, met his wife, who's from Bayelsa in Kaduna in 1991 when they were doing NYSC. And so I'm sure that there are dozens of stories like this that we need to be telling as people. Where are those stories, and why are we not telling them? Why is the media not hyping them? Why are we as people, why is the NYSC not hyping those stories? So for me, it's about those national narratives that we can put together and just continue to amplify, showing that the things that unite us are more than the things that divide us.
Thank you very much for that. Malkwe, I would move over to you. I mean, you have invested so much positively, I reckon, in the media space in Nigeria, and I'd like to say thank you before I ask the question. Would you say that the media, however, has done a good job in pushing the need and importance of unity in nation building? How well would you say that the media has done in this regard?
It's a very tough question to answer. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Mr. Vice President. It's good to see you again. And it's good to have the opportunity. Congratulations to you, ARUKAINO. Well done. So on this particular question, I cannot sit here and say I speak for the entirety of the media. The media, each media house will have to answer its own name when it comes to this. And I know that there are a number of issues that are currently affecting how, you know, the narrative that the media pushes out. First, for instance, print houses, they would want to sell their papers, so you have to ask what is selling in terms of how you count your news and the kind of stories that you sell. Online now, people want clicks. That's what is also, you know, selling. At what expense? At the expense of what? Is a question that those who have ethics are asking themselves. But largely, generally, for a lot of media houses who are still going by the ethics of the profession, they realize that there must be a country first before you can actually practice your trade or, you know, have a profession. So for those media houses, they're doing their utmost to ensure that that unity in diversity is what is pushed forward. that we do not have the situation whereby we go back to the war, the civil conflict we had in this country in 1967. And when we see any time, at least from my own experience, when we see that we're getting to the brink as responsible media houses, we realize that we have a duty to help pull back. But beyond, media houses, I think that individuals, because individuals are the ones who make up these media houses, they also have individual responsibilities. And I think that it will also be up to every single individual within a media house to ask how they're helping to push the narrative of division, or how they're helping to push the narrative of one Nigeria. And I think that's certainly something that we can also search on.
Thank you. That was a very, very apt response. I would move to Novo before I come to Booker. Novo, what is your perspective on national unity, national collusion, and the entirety of peace and unity?
Questions and topics from the root cause. So the work we do in the NISA Foundation, is the Peace Center, is use history as a subject to foster the idea and teach unity. Sadly, the subject unity history was taken off the school's curriculum about 13 years ago. I like to say brutally taken off the school's curriculum. It's very beautiful to talk about Nigeria's unity and all the poetry and all the sweet dreams and all of that. But the truth is, if you do not go to the roots of understanding why we need to be together, we'll just keep dreaming. I could sit here and talk about, the dream about Nigeria, how beautiful it's going to be, and Nigeria and all of that. It's beautiful. But my concern is always, can we restore history back into our school? But that's the only true way we can be sure that this country will truly stay united. Because the young people are the drivers of this future. And if they don't understand the history of Nigeria, the evolution of Nigeria, how would they have the essence or the point or the vision to want to stay together? So it always comes back to me asking that question. We need to get history back into our school. So that's my viewpoint. That is the way I always address it. And that's the work we're doing at NISA, because we actually go back in time using pictures to tell our stories, and then young people can actually find their own narrative on why we should stay together, and why it's really important to be together.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. And everyone is definitely a product of history, but what we do with it to emerge into a better and stronger unified nation is what really makes the difference. I would like to go to you, Booker. How do we begin to redefine what it means to be Nigerian? Citizens of Nigeria, putting into consideration the fact that it is usually mainly tied to ethnicity and religion. How can we move from point A to point B?
Thank you for the question. I think that it goes to ask more questions. The focus of the thing is unity and diversity. If I was to ask all of us here, from our diversity, which is mostly ethnic and all religions, if I say to somebody, okay, look at the diversity, your uniqueness, where are you from? You say, I'm from Lagos State, this is my ethnicity, this is my religion. What constitutes the nature of our specific identities within the diversity is very clear. was a time when what is presently Nigeria, there was less than 100 white people running. What's the idea that drove these guys so strong that they could come to some other person's land, not know the persons, not know the weather, fight malaria, and still get to conquer? There was an idea, there was an identity. And so for us as Nigeria, unity is great, but we've got to find and define in very clear terms what we are united about. Or else what we'll keep doing is saying, oh, what we're really going for is let's bring all the parts of our diversity and bring these good parts and put it together and create this little collage. It's never going to work because when you create that collage, which I created before, I think we're privileged to have the Vice President here, who knows me, knows how much I admire, and which even when it's not appropriate, just admire him. But the time I know that for a while, he will always talk about the Nigerian spirit, our ability to persevere through anything, our don't give up attitude, and how we do that uniquely with humor all the time. One of the things that I love to do a lot is listen to Nigerian music, and that's because you find there is no form of the art of music anywhere in the world that youngsters have made innuendo and nuance useful in such a way that they can be as vulgar and as intelligent, and the census board full of old geezers who have no clue what they're talking about. Right? Not too long ago, we heard a policewoman shouting in a bus, help me, did they carry me where I no go? Something like that. I've listened to 4 songs using that. When Wiki said, as they pain them, it is sweet us, as it is sweet us, it pain them. Timaya has a hit song about that. So there is the ingredients of what cuts across all Nigerians, regardless of where we're from, what identity we define ourselves by, and what religion we define ourselves by, that we need to be clearer on. In order to do that very quickly, 3 things I would say in terms of just clear action point. We have to re-examine how we teach our history. And I get into a little trouble when I say this, but I'm of the opinion that Wazobia is not a very accurate way to teach our identity. We are not a 3 major ethnic group and the rest country. We're simply a multi-ethnic country that's got close to 500 ethnic groups, different, speaking as much languages and ethnicities. It would be wonderful if we decide not to put religion in the center of things, or if we want to, then make sure we create space for every religion, not just 2. So if we want to talk about religion and the centrality of it, especially in public education, when I was a kid, my dad always taught us to do what I think now foolish things and the question. I went to primary school, and in the school there was always CRK and IRK every day. And I had a long argument with my dad. I was probably 7. And so I was raised in a Christian home. And so after break, I went to IRK because I had a lot of questions. And my father said, look, I went to Bible school. I don't know what you're asking. And so I went there, and I was punished and kicked out. And I was told, look, you're a Christian, go to CRK. And then the next day, my dad came to school and raised hell. Because it's like, well, first of all, my kid wants to learn. He's already learning about his feet at home. He wants to learn this that he doesn't know. How do you want him to understand it? But more importantly, he also said, and when he was reading, this was how I started, he said, I don't know in God's name why we have to use public money to teach religion in the first place. So there's something for not throwing away or disrespecting it, but just putting it in proper perspective. Then lastly, that has to be channeled in institutions very, very clearly. We've got an economy that is mainly patronage, so getting into public service become identity-based. I think that in time we should consider fizzling it out, because if you've got affirmative action that lasts forever, then you're just institutionalizing that division. Thank you very much, and I hope I made sense.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I believe they all deserve a round of applause. And just to summarize what they have all said, Tolu did rightly mention that we really need to start focusing on the things that unite us as against things that divide us. Malkwe mentioned the fact that media houses and broadcast, print, online, journalists need to also be very intentional about the narratives that they are pushing as against, personal interest when it comes to the number of clicks, and the likes. Unity still surpasses everything else. Novo did also mention the need to reintegrate learnings about history back into, our school system. And thank you so much, Mr. Booker, as well. You did mention re-examining how to teach our history in schools. Do we have time for one question? Yes, just one question. That's all we can take. If we do not have, okay, please. Can we get the microphone to her as quickly as possible? Thank you.
Hello, good evening, Your Excellency. Good evening, everybody. Hello. My own is not a question, but is a word that I will add to what the panelists have said. I think the problem in Nigeria is we're all selfish. It's selfish interest that brings us to where we are now. If we could have a leader like our Vice President, I think Nigeria will move forward. Thank you.
If you agree, we need a round of applause to second that. Thank you. Thank you so much to all our panelists. Tolu Ogulesi, Special Advisor to the President on Digital and New Media. Novo Isioro, Visual Communication Strategist. Personal Photographer to the Vice President and oversees Aniza Foundation. Yanni Buka, he's a lawyer and development economist. And Markwe Ogun, broadcast journalist co-anchoring Nigeria's leading 24 hours news. Thank you so much to everyone. If we have the photographer on standby, can we just take a quick picture with them and we'll exit the stage. Thank you. Photographer anywhere.
Thank you very much, Irene Bandi, our able moderator. And I'm from London called the Africa Interviews, and what we do basically is just to sell Africa, positive stories about Africa. At least make I promote myself too now. Clap for me. And make I sell market. It's not every day you stand in front of His Excellency, the Vice President of Nigeria. All right, guys, thank you so much. Thank you for that amazing discussion, quite stimulating and intellectual, and it provides a roadmap of what we should do. Thank you for that. I would like to invite Tamara Digobu to come back on stage. A round of applause for her as she comes to perform another poem. Please, a round of applause for Tamara.
His Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, once again, I am here to read another piece from ARUKAINO's The Memory of Seasons, and this one is called Rebirth of a Nation. The trigger at the center of Africa, the continent's heartbeat, giant in the sun, the land of diverse rhythms, culture, and cuisine, with cattle on over 100 hills, a people, almost 20% of the black race. The trigger is a nation whose true patriots have labored, leaving behind legacies to guide our deeds. No greater vanity than to fail them. Our country must not remain the same again. The ideal Nigeria that we all seek earnestly must no more be a mirage. All must be consumed by a patriotic zeal, Bribery and corruption must be gone. Moral decadence must be shunned. The time for rejuvenation has come. But it's left for us all to forge a strong and vibrant nation. Our unity we must uphold. Then, glory again will we behold. It is our choice at most to build a truly great nation. The trigger with 3 rivers, projectile of black excellence activated. Nigeria, arise. Thank you.
Thank you, Mara. I'm inspired. She's resuscitated that passion for a country with so much potential. When you travel out of the country, you appreciate Nigeria more and more. I used to work for Coca-Cola many years ago, and I remember we went to Nairobi to launch a campaign. And I remember everybody wanted to see the comms manager from Nigeria. It was exciting because Nigerian music has become the new cultural. All right, thank you. Being an MC, you used to hold in the microphone, and the DJ was scratching my voice. It's not going to collect his balance. All right, that's just a joke. So I remember them looking for the guy from Nigeria, and I was wondering why. And when I met my colleagues at the Kenyan office, and they said, Nigeria is actually on the map through your music. And for me, my first degree was in history. I felt, without the negative connotation of that word, I said, this is quite interesting. This is a new cultural imperialism, Nigeria to the world. So it's quite an amazing experience when you're out there and you see how people reckon and regard Nigeria. Be proud of being Nigerian. God made you Nigerian for a purpose. I'm excited to be Nigerian. I hope you all, if you're proud to be Nigerian, let us repeat, I am proud to be Nigerian. Thank you very much. We would go to item 12, not item 7. And we would like to invite our able chairman, the accomplished oil and gas technocrat, engineer Dr. Rabiu Suleiman, to do the formal presentation and launch of the Memory of Seasons by ARUKAINO UMUKORO. Interestingly, I have a little secret about my relationship with ARUKAINO, but I will keep it in the bag for now. A round of applause for our chairman as he does the formal presentation of the Memory of the Seasons. And ARUKAINO, please make your way to come stand with the chairman. A round of applause for the author. It's not easy to string words together.
So ARUKAINO, you should have gotten Aliko Dangote to launch this book, rather than to get a retiree to launch a book. From all the bits and pieces of these poems that were selected randomly, most of which were praising the country Nigeria, and indeed praising individuals that have made contributions significantly to Nigeria, it's up to you to understand the narrations of some of the contents of the poems. I took time to read through this document. It is really an interesting booklet, and I will encourage every individual one of us to acquire this poem. As a collector of this, I want to especially thank the author, who has transformed most of us to learn how to sharpen our voice. Today I was looking for bitter cola to eat so that at least my voice will be able, I don't know if you will ask me to come and read one of the poems. You need to have a nice voice to be able to read a poem. So I was busy chewing bitter cola from morning till afternoon. I'm happy he's not asking me to read anyone. But I must thank you especially for dedicating your time, despite the fact that you never had it, to work in the office of the president and the vice president can never be a space that will get yourself to be able to do even something for the father. For you to create that window, despite all these challenges of calls and activities day in, day out, under sunshine, to craft a book of this nature with a lot of intelligence. We must thank you and congratulate you, and indeed congratulate all those that have supported you, especially the ones that you mentioned in your book. I want to thank you very much for making contributions to the literary society in Nigeria. Now, I don't know if this speech is enough, but I think one would want to know whether we'll be able to buy a few. Whatever the price you have assigned into this book, I promise to buy 10 at 10 times the price of each. That was my little contribution. I don't know the price yet. Thank you very much for that, and I look forward to see that each and every one of us should acquire at least a book, but I'm sure the library of the Vice President should have not less than 5,000 in his library, so that anybody that comes to say hello to the Vice President, it will be part of the gift package that we'll give to those people that will come. And every journalist, indeed, it will be a duty and a responsibility, I want to believe, for you to acquire and to keep some of these publications that will further enrich and guide some of you in the way you publish news and the way you canvass and champion information. It was deliberate that these young people were asked to come forward, also to have a discourse on the nation building, and particularly narrowing down to journalism, because what a lot of people don't know, the press is really the image maker of not only the country or community in which they live, but the entire society, the global society. Whatever the press push forward, believe me, it sells much more than what the imams and the pastors are putting forward. It is nice to buy a piece of writing, to click into the internet and social media and to read. Very difficult unless you are God-guided to be able to pick your book, the Bible or the Quran to read. So I think you have a lot of work to do in the media to really promote Nigeria to where it should be. No matter all the hard work, I used to tell my colleagues and people that all the problems of Nigeria have been well researched and well documented, but they are still there in the archives. The only ones that are coming on are the ones that you people in the media have championed the cause and you are pushing it forward. So it is more of a duty and a responsibility. And if you do what we try to do, your profession is not just to earn money. If you take it as an act of worship, you will make the money and God will say thank you and reward you. I'm sure everybody wants to be rewarded to go to paradise. So please take your job as an act of worship. When you do that intention, you will still make a lot of money and God will be happy with you. ARUKAINO, you have set the tone. May God bless you. May God continue to enrich your brain. May it continue to sharpen. You are lucky your father guided you. Some of us, we have illiterate parents, yet we are able to emerge. So more is expected from you, who has come from a scholastic environment that has been guided as a baby to write an article and to publish it from primary school. I think you are very lucky to come from that family. May God bless your family. Thank you very much, the Vice President, and I consider this as a launch of the book, and I call on you to see that you don't go out without at least a copy of this book, and make sure you donate generously to the launching of this book. Thank you very much indeed. Congratulations.
Thank you, our Honorable Chairman, Engineer Rabiu Suleiman. Thank you. A round of applause for him again. He's launched the book with an undisclosed amount, and we really appreciate that. Thank you, sir, for that. While he was talking, I also imagined if Aliko Dangote was my friend, he probably would be here. So someday he's going to be my friend. My imagination will continue to run wild. ARUKAINO, my humble contribution to this book, I launched this book with the sum of, I'll tell him in private. All right, I would like to invite the author himself to give us his vote of thanks. A round of applause for him.
Well, this is one of the effects of being very tall. You have to adjust the microphone. Yeah, this is like the first time I'm doing something like this, so I've always been the one to write and do stuff, but so it feels kind of strange a bit. So first of all, protocols to His Excellency Professor Yemi Oshibajo, SAN, GCON, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I have been privileged over my life, over the course of my working life, to have great mentors. And I say without a shadow of a doubt that the Vice President has been one of the biggest mentors I've ever had in my life. So thank you, sir. Also to the Special Assistant to, first of all, I'm sorry, the Deputy Chief of Staff to the President in the Office of the Vice President, Sir Dikos, like we say, Mr. Adepaye. Thank you for all your support. I am truly grateful. Thank you, sir. To the Special Assistant, Special Advisor to the President in the Office of the Vice President, Ambassador Adeyemi Dipolu. Thank you, sir, for your honor. To the Senior Special Assistant to the President in the Office of the Vice President, Dr. Balkis, one of the first persons I met and one of the most beautiful souls ever. She's Muslim, but she epitomizes the true Nigerian spirit. So thank you for your honor. And I hope I'm following the protocols because I'm not really used to this. But also to the MD of Niger Delta Power Holding Company, Sir Chiedu Ugo, thank you. Sir, you owe me a discussion and some other things off camera, you know. Thank you, sir. And, well, I have to mention this. If I don't mention your name, forgive me, but I have to mention the Senior Special Assistant to the President in the Office of the Vice President, Mr. Laolu Akonde. After the Vice President, I think is my biggest mentor in the last 6 years. Actually, writing this book took it was a supersonic speed. He actually gave me that push. He didn't tell me to write a book, he just gave me a push. Because he was like, Rookie, time does not wait for you. He told me like 2 years ago or something when we were doing some job, and I'm like, I've been thinking about it because over the course of my working life, I have something I call MSc. So the MSc is MSc after the MSc. So I always take notes of anything my superiors tell me. So I go back and I walk about it. So without further ado, I want to say thank you to the chairman, Engineer Rabiu Suleiman. For the first time we met like 4 or 5 years ago during the Niger Delta New Vision workshop narrative, and across the Niger Delta, I just knew that this was a man I had to stay close to. And when I asked him to be the chairman, he didn't hesitate. He said, Ricky, you're my friend. Just tell me what I need to do and I will do it. That says a lot about you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. God bless you, sir. I hope I didn't miss any other name, but thank you all for being here, for doing me an honor. So I just go to my unedited speech that I would like to say thank you to my first mentor and my first editor. I was 3 years old when I wrote my first letters. I didn't go to school. I was 3 years old when I wrote my first alphabets. I wasn't in school. I didn't go to a nursery school. When I was 3, they took me to primary 1, and the teacher said, man, wow, you should just start, but you're too small. But anyway, I still went to primary 1, and that was because my dad was teaching me at home. I remember writing the first 10 letters on the wall of my house. My dad bought a lot of books. I was reading those books. He encouraged me, he would buy books, I would read them. I would look for every word in a dictionary. Every day I had a word to learn in a dictionary. And in primary 2, I will be going to classes in primary 6, primary 4 to read the English comprehension textbook for them. That's a result of my dad's efforts, and he encouraged me. So I want to say thank you, Dad. I'm sure he's streaming right now. He's not here, but He's my biggest mentor, so thank you, Dad. And my number one fan actually is my mom. So I want to say thank you to my mom. My dad is a brilliant author, by the way, and a brilliant poet. His first book was a book of poetry. 30 years ago, I was a young boy watching him launch his book too. So I'm here. The cycle is complete. So thank you, Dad, for everything. So like the MC said, yeah, I have a quote which I always tell my friends and they laugh. I say, when you're down to your last card, play your joker. If you know how to play cards, you know what that means. So when I was looking for an MC for this event, the MCs were calling some outrageous figures for me. Abuja MCs are very something else, you know. So I was like, no, I don't have that money to do that now. So what am I going to do? 24 hours to this event, I didn't have the MC. So I had to play my card. My joker was my family card. So the MC is my elder brother, by the way, Mr. Sam UMUKORO. Well, after every other mentor I've mentioned, he's one of my biggest mentors too. As a matter of fact, he got me my first laptop, a 360-degree laptop that turns 360-degree. I was earning 20,000 naira then. I couldn't afford a laptop of 1 million, but he gave it to me, you understand? And he did so much more. My first job was as a result of his push. He called the editor of a magazine and he was like, oh, I have this brother, he's excellent. Can you give him a try? And the rest is history. My other job is the one. In fact, all the stage of my life, this man has been there. So a round of applause to Mr. Sam UMUKORO, one of my biggest and greatest mentors. The memory of season, yeah. Shakespeare said, find something you feel passionate about and let your pen give it voice. I was 13 years old when I heard that, and that has been the story of my life. I thought about poetry. I wrote my first poem, actually about Nigeria, in a biology class. In fact, my first degree was in industrial chemistry. So when I was doing my project defense, I said in the beginning was the word, and afterwards there was a chemical reaction. I hope you all feel some chemical reaction today to make you donate some millions for my book, yeah? So, shout out to my brother, my sisters. My brother is here, Karo Mukoro. Where are you? Thank you very much for being here. Avi is watching in Lagos. Yo-Yo is watching too. Elo is watching. Super Maro is watching, my nephew. Amazing Arsenal fan. Don't worry, Arsenal will win the league, maybe next year. And Super Gali Kome is watching too. I love you guys. So what else can I say? Your Excellency, thank you so much. If I didn't win anything, you are the biggest win for me being here. But I know I'll win so much more. So please, donate, buy this book, buy it for your friends. Stay passionate about Nigeria. Thank you to all the panelists too, and all my friends who came from far and near to support me. God bless you all. Thank you.
I'm usually not tongue-tied, but that was a bit emotional for me. I wasn't expecting that. You pulled your family joker, but you still pay the balance. I only gave you a family discount. There is something he also forgot to mention, and this is quite important for the young people here. So I remember I used to work for a multinational called Adax Petroleum. I was head of media, and he read industrial chemistry, and he came back from school. He's always been a brilliant writer. His command of the English language is excellent. In fact, people think I write. No, my brother is better than I. And he came back from school, and I said to him, what do you want to do? And he said, journalism. Well, I said, I know you like to write. You've won all the awards. So I called a friend of mine, editor of a national magazine, and I said, I'm going to send my brother to you. But this is important, what I'm going to say. If he's not good, fire him faster than you hired him. Not because he's my brother. He's coming to you, but please, there is no privilege here. If he's not good, I know he's good, but if in your judgment you think it doesn't meet your expectations, don't hesitate to send him back. So I think, if my memory serves me right, he left my house around 11 a.m. and I got carried away, and I realized, I looked at the time, it was 5 o'clock. I haven't seen my younger brother. So I called the editor and I said, where is ARUKAINO? He said, you sent a genius to me. He won a national award in journalism while he was still a youth corper. A national award. I've never won any award, but I'm super proud of him. And I practice as a journalist. At least one of us must win the award, but it's an exceptional privilege to be called your elder brother. You're an amazing man, beautiful soul, a truly good human being. And I also learn from you. Thank you for gifting us with your talent. And another gift to the nation, and I think that we are all members of the mutual admiration club of this man, is the special guest of honor, His Excellency, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, SANGCON. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please get up as we make welcome, a round of applause for the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Keep clapping, please. Your Excellency, you're highly welcome, erudite scholar, distinguished Nigerian, exemplary leader. I could go on with the accolades.
Thank you very much. Please sit. Thank you. Thank you very much, Master of Ceremonies, for the very generous introduction and your very kind words. Now that I know that you are our brother, you get nothing for your very you get nothing for all your very good words. The chairman of the occasion and the executive chairman, Rift Oil and Petroleum Company Limited, Engineer Rabiu Suleiman, and all of our special guests, panelists, ladies and gentlemen. I am overwhelmed by the achievement of ARUKAINO, but we call him Rookie, so we'll just keep it as Rookie today. All of us who know him well call him Rookie. So we'll just call him, I'm just completely taken by all that he has achieved in so short a time. We've heard all the awards, and there's just a long list of them. So it's really a pleasure to be here today for the formal presentation and book launch of the Memory of Seasons, a collection of poems by Rookie, or ARUKAINO UMUKORO, speaking of nationhood, faith, life, and humanity. There's a paragraph in the preface which says that these poems weave stories, reflections, imaginations, and love into an embroidered yarn. Of course, the preface was written by the author himself, so when you see and hear that the use of words and the excellent rhythm of the language, you know that it could only have come from a poet of such great talent. It says they also navigate the seasons of love, the crux of humanity, and the nuances that genuflect a genuine concern for society. At the heart of the poet's codex, it's called, according to codex, I believe it is God, nation, and humanity. End of quote. I mean, you know, sometimes people say that Wole Soyinka is complex, you know. So when you read some of his poems, you know. But I think that there's very good, you sometimes have to reflect when you read some of Rookie's poetry. You have to think again and reflect. I agree with his characterization of his poetry because I read a few of them myself. And I'm also glad to see that the project of which he spoke to me about, which is this book of poetry about 2-3 months ago, has very quickly come to term. I'm proud of his efforts and the creativity that it took to deliver such a wonderful set of poems in a very, very short. The chairman has already told us that Ricky started as a child poet, and I think the MC has also told us his father, Mr. Godswill Dean UMUKORO, also a brilliant poet and writer, encouraged him from a young age to be creative and to use his writing gifts. And we're told that when he was still in primary school, his father helped him publish his first ever fiction story titled One Good Turn Deserves Another. It was published in the then popular Democrats newspaper in Kaduna State where he lived with his family at the time. The chairman was also very kindly offered to make a framed copy of that publication available. I hope that we will also get, if not framed, we'll frame it ourselves. 2 of his poems, Stillbirth and Love Is, have been featured already on BBC Network Africa and the West African Democracy Radio, respectively. But this would be his first full collection of poetry. And Ruki's themes, quite frankly, do not surprise me. The themes that he chose in his poetry do not surprise me. He is a conscientious public intellectual and very restless social activist who believes in this nation fervently. And that shows in practically everything. It's demonstrated in what he talks about, what he writes about, and practically over everything. The theme of this event, conversations on Nigeria's unity and diversity, challenges, opportunities, and benefits, is one of his favorite issues. And I'm glad that the esteemed members of that panel spoke so thoughtfully and so insightfully on many of the salient issues. But one thing I'd just like to add to all this, and already I think 2 or 3 of the speakers mentioned this, is that we need to talk up our country. We need to talk this country up. A big part of nation building is talking up your nation. Tolu and I believe Maokwe a few moments ago asked what sort of narratives about Nigeria do we push? What are the narratives that we push about Nigeria? The stories of nations written by others focus on their own agendas, the agendas of the authors. The negatives, of course, sell more and much faster. We must tell our own stories. I attend a lot of conferences, or I used to attend a lot of conferences anyway, you know, and I will soon be attending a good number of conferences again. But it is only, frankly, and this is the honest truth, I have never found a place where, at a conference, where anyone is speaking ill of their country or running down their country. If it happens, it usually is in Nigeria. And that's the truth. Everywhere you go, no matter how funny the country may be, you will never hear anyone speaking negatively about their country. No. No matter how bad the country is. Today we hear that, we know that in the US, so far, between January and now, there have been well over 150 mass shootings. Mass shootings. Well over 150. In schools, in malls, in car parks, in places of work. People are just shot at random by one person, just comes and shoots people. Yet, you will never hear, well, certainly, I mean, you wouldn't hear an American attend a conference and say, my country is unsafe, it's insecure, people are being shot every day. No, you won't hear it. Every country talks up their own country. Every people of every country talk up their country. When we get home, we can criticize ourselves. Oh yes, we can say whatever we like, but we must talk up our country. We belong to one side, and that side is the Nigerian side. Someone was talking about Arsenal a few moments ago. Arsenal will win this, will win this Premier League. they would win. Because that's our, okay, that's our side, that's our side. We'll take the side. They may not be the best, they may not win all the time, but that's our side. This country is our side. So we must talk of this country, and we must continue to talk it up and make sure that in every way that we can, we give the very best impression of our country. Our country is not its politicians. It's not even its religious leaders. It's not its business leaders. It's you and I. Our country cannot be defined by any group of people, any political party, or any head of a political party, or whoever else. It's defined by us, those of us who are born Nigerians, born by Nigerians, or who become Nigerians by naturalization. Our stories must be stories of our aspirations, our dreams, and our hopes, planted in the successes of our journey and the future of great hope, because we have the incredible talents and material resources, and already on that journey, we are very, very far ahead. And I think that that poem, Imagine Nigeria, which is in the book, and one of the speakers spoke to it. I think it was the gentleman who spoke about it. But I'm going to read portions of it just to encourage us, I hope. And in this poem, he says, imagine Nollywood movies winning Oscars every other year. Funke, Ejiro, Asabe on the global stage. Imagine the Super Eagles winning the World Cup, finishing top 5 on the Olympics medal table. Imagine food baskets all over the country, sufficient to feed 200 million people, yet enough to export. Imagine the UN asking third world countries to learn from the rapid development of the West. Only this time, it is the southwest of Nigeria. Imagine the rise of groundnut pyramids like the Sphinx in the northern desert. Imagine those cattle on 1,000 hills and valleys whose daily products are sold in Europe. Imagine Harvard in Jigawa, MIT in Kebbi, and Almajiri in Council World. Imagine the best resorts in Africa, in the Niger Delta, where children swim in clean water, flowing from the creeks. Imagine Hawaii in Akwa Ibom or Bielsa, Disneyland in Warri. And I said, now that's truly imaginative. Architectural masterpieces and a boat cruise in the Niger Delta. Imagine 1 naira to the dollar. Imagine 24-hour electricity in every village. Imagine PCN storage, PHCN storage for your children, old tales, fairy tales, everyone laughing about it. Imagine the first Nigerian astronaut taking off from the Abuja Space Agency. Imagine Tuwo, Shinkafa, Amala, and Bangasu on the regular menu list at the Waldorf Astoria. Imagine that over 250 ethnic groups understand their differences, harness their diversities into strength to become a truly indivisible country. Imagine the one Nigeria tribe. Imagine a country with focused, selfless leaders and strong institutions. Imagine a country where the rule of law prevails. A country where there is dignity in labor, where justice is a meal both for the rich and the poor. This Nigeria of our imagination is possible for as long as we have the likes of Ruki, in whose hearts burn brightly the reality of this new nation. Congratulations again, Ruki. We will talk about the donation. Thank you all very much.
A round of applause for His Excellency, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, SAN, GCON. A round of applause, please keep clapping. Without any shadow of doubt, you would agree with me that his erudition is unmatchable. Please, another round of applause for the Vice President. I saw all the young people smiling, excited. Thank you, sir, for that amazing speech, and thank you for being an inspiration to a generation. Thank you very much. We have come to the end of the program, but we just have 2 more items to go, but we're going to do it in an orderly manner, and it's the photography session with His Excellency. It's going to last for a few minutes, and I would like to invite Chairman to join His Excellency for the photograph. And ARUKAINO, we're going to do it down. ARUKAINO, we're going to take the picture. Photographers, are you ready? We're going to do it down here. I leave the protocol guys to assist with this. Thank you very much, Emmanuel. Thank you. After this, we get the other distinguished guests here to other guests can join His Excellency, the other distinguished guest. Thank you, sirs. Can I have my mic, please? Can I have the movable mic, please, the wireless mic? Okay. Can we get the panelists too, as well? After this session, I would exercise my prerogative and privilege to also take with His Excellency. MC must take picture too. Thank you very much. Can I have a mic, please? Thank you very much. Please, can we invite the OVP as well to join His Excellency, please? Thank you very much, sir. DJ, get set for the national anthem. Get set, DJ. Thank you, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. And the last photograph before we go quickly is the MC and the distinguished guest here. Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman is laughing. The MC wants his moment in the sun with the Vice President. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Your Excellency. Now the chairman and the MC and the chairman MC and His Excellency. I'm putting myself in all the photograph. Thank you very much. And a round of applause for His Excellency. The national anthem, please, DJ. DJ, can we have the national anthem, please? Okay. Well, in the absence of the national anthem from the DJ, we are all proudly Nigerian, so we're going to sing the national anthem, and we get a copper to lead us. Let's go. The national anthem, please. Quickly. Arise, O compatriot, Nigeria's calling to serve our father's land with love and strength and faith. Heroes past shall never be in vain. To serve it and might, one day shall one with freedom, peace and unity.
Arise, O compatriots.
Imagine Super Eagles winning the World Cup and Nigeria finishing among the top 5 in the Olympics. Imagine Nigerian movies and music winning Oscars and Grammys. Imagine Nigeria as Africa's food basket. Imagine dairy products from cattle in northern Nigeria being exported to Europe and America. Imagine diverse communities of herders and farmers living together in harmony in the same ranches in Plateau, Benue, Taraba to Oyo and Bayelsa states. Imagine a country where the rich and poor have equal access to quality education. Imagine beautiful highways and safe waterways. Quality affordable healthcare for every Nigerian in urban and rural areas. Imagine Disneyland in Warri and Africa's best resorts in the Niger Delta Creeks. Imagine tuwo shinkafa, banga soup, amala, nkwobi on the regular menu in global hotels. Imagine global industries in the southwest, tech companies in the southeast, renowned as Africa's Silicon Valley. Imagine Japanese CEOs driving made in Nigeria cars. Imagine 12 functional refineries, cars driving on gas, and 24-hour electricity in every Nigerian village. Imagine housing for millions of homeless Nigerians. Imagine 37 world-class international airports. Imagine Barack Obama, Beyonce traveling Air Nigeria. Imagine the first Nigerian astronaut taking off from Abuja Space Agency. A country where the rule of law prevails and the police is truly your friend, protecting all Nigerian youths and citizens. A country where true justice is a meal both the rich and poor can afford, where there's dignity for all despite social class and status. Imagine that we all see ourselves as Nigerian first before anything else, where the contents of one's skills, patriotism and character matter more than tribe or regional quotas, where militancy and insurgency would be forgotten tales by moonlight when we sit under the shades of history sipping the palm wine of true nationhood. Imagine over 400 Nigerian tribes united in their diversities, forged into global strength. 200 million people, one nation, living together in freedom, peace and unity. Imagine you living the Nigerian dream. Just imagine. Together, let's make Nigeria better.